Hey, Sox fans. Welcome to Good Guys Talk Back, a local fan-centric Chicago White Sox podcast, hosted by Nick Murawski and Pat Hester.
Yeah, Thunder. Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's Good Guys Talk Back. It's episode 317. I am Nick Murawski, and this is a fan-centric Chicago White Sox podcast. We do this live every Sunday night at 9:15 on the Good Guys Talk Back YouTube channel. Subscribe to that channel. It's really important. Pass it along to other Sox fans. The audio, you can find it absolutely everywhere you find your podcast. We appreciate that. We've been doing this for a very, very long time, and so many gracious people have been with us, but love people that are just jumping in, this year finding us. That's great, too. A lot to get to with this Crosstown series. Started off great, ended horribly. What's been going on with the Sox lately? Some Luis Robert Jr. stuff, and we're going to talk just some more 05 things and everything that those memories and we're reliving a lot of 125 stuff because Dick Allen inducted into the Hall of Fame. So we'll get to that as well. Now, with me tonight, Pat is on assignment in Florida, checking in on those clubs, the Rays and the Marlins, and enjoying himself in Disney. So joining me on this very special Good Guys Talk Back, a dear friend of mine. He is a lifelong, diehard, passionate Chicago White Sox fan. He does the voice of the intro, Mr. Eric Carlson. Welcome to the program, buddy.
Thank you, Nick. It's a pleasure to be a part of the show. I feel like every time I listen to you guys every week, I feel like I'm having that conversation with you. So it's nice to be able to actually do it live with you here on Good Guys Talk Back. So long time listener, first time podcaster.
That's great, man. I really appreciate you filling in. We're going to get to your Gene Honda impression a little bit later in the show. And it's such a great G Honda impression, but Greg joining us, Sydney, Steve, Peyton, great to have you along. Sydney said today's game was both ugly and tough. And I agree. We're going to, just try to vent a little bit and provide some Sox therapy on what we saw Saturday and Sunday, because it started off so great, as I had mentioned. Our Chicago White Sox 38-68. It doesn't feel like that. Does it feel, Eric, like it's like they're 30 games under 500?
No, to me it feels like they have turned a corner. I'm not going to say flip the switch, but they turned a corner. I think I just looked it up before we went on. They have a minus 71 run differential. Where last year, I want to say it was over 200, minus 200. Yeah. So they're in more games. Obviously Friday night was a great game. But even today, they didn't just nail it in. They stayed with it. And I really thought they had a chance all the way up to the end. But it does feel different. And I feel like they have turned a corner. But it's I know the record doesn't show it, but they're playing better baseball.
It feels like it. In this past week, since the last time we talked, I was starting for the first time in a long time to get very excited about an upcoming game. When they had that off day on Thursday, I mentioned it on social media. I never thought going into this season I'd be disappointed for an off day. And with the way they were playing, I was having some like Sox withdrawals, believe it or not, that there was no game Thursday night. So it just, again, like some of the metrics and the numbers and the way they played Saturday and Sunday and in some of those instances, you're like, well, yeah, I get it. I get why they're 30 games under. But then you have Friday and they're just so inconsistent and they can't, it was a stretch. It was a fun stretch, and that might happen again at some point. We just can't, that can't be the norm for this team right now. We just don't have that. A lot of moving parts, but you're starting to see flashes from guys. So Sox are 22 and a half games out in the Central, that ever forgiving AL Central. 18 games out of the wild card. It was down to 16 and a half. of course, there's a million teams to leapfrog, but I'm just curious to throw out those numbers. It means very little, but I mean, the way that Pittsburgh series went, Eric, and then taking 2 or 3 from Tampa in Tampa, and then Friday, I mean, Sox were white hot. They were like one of the hottest teams in baseball. The amount of runs that they were scoring, and you were getting it, I thought, from guys that, okay, some of these guys have a future. This is like the new core of the Chicago White Sox moving forward. And the blowout on Friday got me just so excited. And after Saturday and Sunday, I want to ask you how excited you got, but I felt like, why did you do this to me? Here we go again. You made me care again, White Sox. I started to get, hopeful. I started to say, oh, wow, like we could like really smash the Cubs here and ruin their weekend, return the favor. And we'll break down Friday a little bit more, but this stretch, this Pirates, Rays, and then Friday, a mini stretch, but kind of, something for us did that get you like back into a bit of a Sox frenzy?
It did. And I'm kind of like, I told you earlier before we went on the air, I'm in the same boat that Pat's in. I don't have the CHSN, so I don't watch the games. I have to follow it on my phone, or, if they have an afternoon game when I'm at work, I'll listen to Len and DJ. But that stretch did get me all sorts of excited. 6-1, and it's not like they beat, the Rockies. I mean, I know Pittsburgh's under 500. The Rays are over 500. They took 2 out of 3 from them, and to start off against the Cubs, who are tied for the best record in the National League, to blow them out 12-5, that was a great start. But they're still 6-3 since this All-Star break. So, I mean, you gotta look at the positives, and you gotta be happy and excited for what they're doing right now. And to see Colson Montgomery come alive, was it 3 games in a row he had a home run, or I know maybe it was 2 games in a row, 2 in Tampa, 1 against the Cubs. So
that was great. That's great to see that.
As long as we still see the young guys develop, Mydroth and Montgomery, and even
and there's
Sosa,
movement in the farm system, Eric.
Yeah.
You got Braden Montgomery that's on the move.
I heard he just got called up. Yeah, to Double-A, was it?
Yeah, the thing though with Colson Montgomery is the moving from shortstop to third, back to short. There's this indecision almost from the Sox of where they want him, and he's looked kind of uncomfortable at third base. I mean, he had that run-in with Ian Happ today, where Ian Happ collides with him. Ian Happ's right of the base path, so he gets home.
That was a very smart play by Ian Happ.
Yeah, that was like an AJ Brzezinski type of base running play.
Exactly.
To know exactly what you need to do to cause interference. And Colson's learning, but sometimes you want him to learn maybe at AAA. And I know I'm not the only one saying this, but if you wanted him at third base, maybe more third base time. That's the thing is I want guys to be where they should be. There's a lot of movement all over, and maybe I just have to be a little bit more patient. But the bat, I've liked the bat, for him to come up and start making noise. That's been great to see. A guy that we saw very little of in this Cubs Sox series was Luis Robert Jr. He did not play Friday. Tons of rumors when he wasn't in the starting lineup against a left-handed pitcher that he was on the move. There was a deal in place, and it turned out that he had surprise, kind of a groin issue or a soft tissue issue. And he was made available, I think I heard, in case we needed him, which we didn't because of the offense. And then Saturday, he was shut down as well. Came in as a DH on Sunday, went 0 for 3. Had opportunities, in big moment situations, as obviously the Sox had it close thanks to Benintendi. But it just seems like it's going to happen eventually. The Sox are going to move Luis Robert Jr. A lot of teams checking in on him. New York Mets are the team you hear so many people mentioning. We're not going to get what we thought we were going to get. We're not going to get what Chris Getz and the organization wanted a while ago, or even maybe 4 months ago. There's, who knows? Some team could get goofy here as this goes down to the final week for the deadline, where they might overpay, they might overcommit, whatever, for Luis Robert Jr. Couple questions for you. Say he does leave. Would you be sad? Are you crushed? Is he a guy that you've really grown to enjoy? Is he one of your favorites? How have you felt about Luis Robert Jr. as he's been wearing a White Sox uniform?
Oh, that's a question for sure. I like Luis Robert Jr. I still remember the home run he hit against Oakland in the playoffs in the shortened 2020 season.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
He's had some moments here, especially was it 2023 when it was his All-Star year with 38 home runs. I mean, that was I thought for sure that was like the beginning of superstardom for Luis Robert Jr. The injury bug just kept biting him. And I would hate to see him go. I'm kind of on the side of, why not just keep him, pick up his option for next year? Because if you're not going to get what you want for him now, okay, was it going to cost you $18 million to pick up his option? Keep him for one more year. If you're not going to get, unless you get what you're looking for this season, then definitely trade him. But I don't think it would hurt the Sox to keep him for one more year. I really don't.
You're not the only one. I've heard that quite a bit. This is the big asset. This is the guy that the Sox have. They've got a few other guys that I think will be moved, and they'll get, hopes and dreams for these guys. Robert's the guy that I think, you could get something substantial from somebody's farm system. And another organization really has to see that. It's kind of interesting. And again, it could be just a flash in the pan, but what you see with Andrew Vaughn in Milwaukee, and we've done this before with other players that have gone on from the organization. It's just like, wow, look at what they've unlocked in this player, and it seems like it doesn't happen long term. Pitching, we've obviously seen guys that have left that have gone on to have solid careers and continue to pitch really well. But with the bat, there's this excitement period, then it fizzles. Andrew Vaughn is hitting the ball for Milwaukee. And, I'm sure there are teams out there that are saying, oh man, like, look at this guy. Again, like when that series he had in Pittsburgh, he flashed his speed, defense, bat, wow, we got to be able to get something out of this guy. I bet you if we got him in our lab or with our analytics or with our department, he could see the light. He could see what we're trying to do. And maybe that's what it takes with some players. They hold on to, I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to do it with my way with the team that brought me into the majors. And they're stubborn enough. But then it takes that trade, or it takes that, leaving their initial club for them maybe to just get hit in the forehead of, oh, wow, okay, I guess I have to change things, and then they accept the new way, whatever is being told to them. And it's like, oh, it unlocks all the potential that we were supposed to reap. I don't know. But I see where you're coming from with holding on. Well,
Nick, I could tell you that I did some notes before we came on to the Mets have a player that the Sox are interested in. It's Mark Vientos, who's a third baseman, first baseman, and DH. 2024, he had 266, 27 homers, 71 RBIs, and an OPS of 837. This year is a little down, 226, 6 homers, 27 RBIs, and a 638 OPS. But that's the guy. That's the guy that the Mets have to throw in. in order for the White Sox to trade Luis Robert Jr. Now, there's another team I also read about that's interested. It's the Padres. I feel like the Sox should never trade with the Padres ever again because we've always gotten the short end of the stick, or short end of the deal on that. So, but they're also interested in a couple other outfielders like Steven Kwan from the Guardians and Ramon Laureano from the Orioles as well.
Yeah.
So,
those are teams that I've heard as well. Sydney and Howard jumping in, and hello to Howard and hello to Megan. Thanks for joining us. And Sydney mentioned that he gets the impression that Getz is going to trade at all costs, and that seems to have been the narrative for a while. Is like this is just a foregone conclusion. It's just finding that partner and you're playing that game of chicken right now. I think organizations down to the wire are they're holding out, and then we'll see who flinches first come Thursday?
Yeah.
And see, in my gut, I feel like he's gone, and I'm okay with that. I'm not going to be sad about that. We've unpacked a lot here at Good Guys Talk Back. Pat and I we have, it's, as we say, it's Sox therapy, and we've gone through all these guys from Moncada to Anderson, Abreu, Aloy, so many, Crochet, Giolito, Cease, on and on. I've kind of dealt with it. I've already processed the fact that Robert hasn't given us what we wanted. And we've got a new core. We're moving in a different direction. Sure, he's a center fielder that has power, that has speed. Of course, who doesn't want that? But I don't know. Just in terms of the attitude or the chemistry, or just getting away from that old collection of players, that previous group that was supposed to take us to the promised land, just moving away from that. And just going full, just in a different direction. Not that I'm saying cut dead weight, like I'm calling him dead weight, but just move on, And
that's why come Thursday, if we read that Luis Robert Jr. was traded, it wouldn't surprise me either. And I think he's pretty much the last link to that old regime, right? The 2021 team. And I guarantee you, wherever he picks up, if it's the Mets or the Padres or wherever, he's going to totally turn it on, and he's going to be an all-star caliber player once again, because that's how it seems to happen. Sometimes it's just a change of scenery. I think Luis Robert Jr. maybe, and I hate to bring this name up, but a little TLR stink on him still. So that might be why, I don't know, maybe it just could be a lot of things, or maybe because he's supposed to be the guy, the star, maybe it's just a lot of pressure on him. If he can go somewhere where he could just be like the third, fourth, fifth option on a team, like maybe relieve a little bit of weight off his shoulders, he's going to turn into an all-star player once again. He's too good.
Yeah, that's what I've wondered with certain players is if you can hide a little bit in a lineup and you don't have to be the star, the main attraction, and you can just do your thing, can you survive that way? There's a lot of guys that can't. They have to be the star. There's just an ego, it's just an egomaniac. And I don't see Robert as that personality. I think he knows what he can be. He's been paid handsomely already, but I know he wants to break the bank even more. But he knows that he's got to step it up. He's stayed relatively healthy, this year, which has been the bugaboo. But yeah, if they move on, and I do think they will, it's a bummer. It's the most marketable player that they have right now. But what we saw this past week, and again, it's a very small sample size. And even on Friday, there are more players that we can rally around, I think.
Sure.
I really hope. I mean,
sure.
So on Sunday here, this was the Sox had an opportunity. They absolutely had an opportunity to win this series. You had a couple home runs from Benintendi, which is good to see. He's been swinging the bat. Grant Taylor That powerful arm. What an arm that guy has out of the bullpen. He was your opener. 2 earned runs in the 1 inning of work as an opener. Sean Burke looked good, but lots of talk really on Lenyn Sosa and his just inability to almost get out of his own way. He's been hitting quite well recently. I mean, just even in this Cubs series, he made some noise. He is, looking more comfortable at the plate, hitting for some pop and some power, but that like baseball IQ, especially on the base paths, there's been fielding issues left and right, but Sunday was another issue with this infield fly. Like he didn't even know it was an infield fly, or he didn't know the rules, like basic little league protocol. And he's at second and he tries to make it to third as the ball. I don't understand what he was doing. And why is that not all ironed out? Unless that's not covered and it's like, this is obvious, we're not going to spend time with it, or he just had a complete brain freeze. But hey, it's on Lenyn Sosa. I'm not trying to make excuses for Lenyn Sosa, but there's also like cover yourself. Third base coach, first base coach. We used to talk this about Daryl Boston all the time. Like, what is your job, man? Just like you are the fail-safe. You are the person that needs to remind the person on first how many outs, what to do in certain situations. Like, do your job, because there's a lot going on for some of these guys. Somebody should have been barking something at Lenyn Sosa before, or is that something that they – it's just maddening when that stuff happens.
This is stuff, and you and I had played baseball before. We played Little League, played in high school. That's something that's second nature. You should know that already. Like, you look, the umpire calls infield fly, you stay put, because just for that reason. Was it Nico Horner that let it drop? Again, another smart move. On the Cubs second baseman, and that's why there's a big difference in wins and losses between the two teams. Feel like the Sox they kind of get in their own way, and it's not everybody's fault or whatever, but Lenyn Sosa should have known better. That's like not tagging up on a fly ball kind of thing. It's just stuff that should be second nature. He should have never left.
Yeah, that happens with him, and it's like, if there's a situation where we don't know where to play you, okay, because you've got, Vargas, Mydroth, Montgomery, Sosa's been taking stuff at first. The first base is a real question mark right now. That type of stuff, we just don't have a place for you.
Right.
You can't be a detriment, even in these moments. And I don't know what it is, if I don't know, like if he just didn't listen, if he didn't attend a meeting, or it makes me just get so irritated right now, because he has been hitting the ball. It's like, you can't be a huge help to our offense if you would just be serviceable with the glove and on the base paths. Like Nick Madrigal used to have this issue too. He was starting to come around with his bat. And he was getting on base and he was getting hits and he was keeping the line moving. But he would have these ridiculous base running. Really, what are you thinking of, man?
You can't make mental mistakes on the base pass. You just can't. When you run yourself out of an inning, that's the recipe for disaster. You're going to lose a lot of ball games doing that. So Lenyn Sosa, he better figure it out, I guess, because like you said, there's really not a place for him on the field.
You're going to get pushed out with guys that are coming up, the guys that are currently here. If you're going to make the job easy for the front office, I hope they have that attitude of enough is enough. Like, we just can't be babysitting you. We tried, but we've got other guys that we're really high on, and we're not going to waste this opportunity to see what they have for us. And we just got to move on. We'll see as after the trade deadline, call ups in September, see how things, what direction the Sox are looking to go into the off season. But let's spend some time on Friday. Friday was awesome. Friday was like,
yes, it was.
Friday was like
Yes,
our World
was.
Series.
It sure
was our one-day World Series. This was it. I was just, I couldn't believe what I was watching. My wife even looked up at the TV, looked at the score. She's like, "What does that say? 9-0?" I'm like, "Yeah, what's happening? Did they get some new players?" I'm like, well, I mean, kind of. I mean, there's been a lot of new guys that have been coming up over the last couple months. And, these guys they don't have that baggage from the previous failed rebuild,
Right.
they're out to prove themselves. And you could see that some of these guys do have that. They've got some hit. They've got some power. Mydroth with 3 hits, led off with a home run, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he did. Yes,
Caro, who I really like, Edgar Caro, 4 for 5.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this guy, I love his arm.
Mm-hmm.
He can hit from both sides of the plate. Good to see that. There's a guy you can build around. Teal and Caro, man. Sorry, Corey Lee.
It's a good problem to have.
It is.
I know some people are like, well, we have 2 good catchers. We have to trade one. No, you find a position. Maybe you move Teal to first, or you move. I like Caro behind the plate because he does have a rifle of an arm. I want to say he threw out Kyle Tucker today trying to steal.
He's got.
He is fun
arm.
to watch. He is fun to watch behind the plate. So I think it's a good problem to have. But yeah, these young guys. It was fun to. Well, I watched a little bit. My wife Rose and I were at a family wedding up in Wisconsin, and her uncle had the game on his phone, so we were trying to look at. I was trying to look as much as possible, and it was 1-0, 3-0, 5-0, 9-0, 11-0. It was great.
Yeah. It was awesome.
And I'll tell you, I think I told you this earlier, before we went on the air. I equate this crosstown rivalry is to like the Bears-Packers, where it's like the Cubs are the Packers right now. They won 8 straight going into Friday, and it's just like, can we just get one game? And I really thought they were actually going to win today, but the fact that they got one, they didn't get season swept again, is nice. But Friday definitely made you feel good if you're a Sox fan. It made me feel good anyway.
When you step back and put it in perspective, it is kind of pathetic that we are so overjoyed over this one game, this
You're
stomping.
Right. You're right.
But it was, you got to kind of, smash it and put it together with the week that the Sox were having, which was pretty exciting. But dejecting on Saturday and Sunday. But Caro 4 for 5. Sosa was 2 for 4 with 3 ribbies, which again makes things so maddening. It's like the guy's swinging the bat, but he just can't figure the other things out that are very important. They could really shoot a club in the foot. Sox had 18 hits on Friday to kick off the weekend, 6 for 18 with runners in scoring position. Hauser, who I think Hauser's a guy that is going to get dealt. Teams are always obviously looking for that arm. And he's auditioned quite well in a White Sox uniform. 6 2/3, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 3 strikeouts, and 3 walks. So thoughts on the weekend? What was fascinating to me after the Friday game, Eric, is that the overall series was tied at 75 and 75. That's insane. Like, baseball is such a crazy sport. And when they flash that it's now 75 wins each for both teams, I'm like, really? I mean, and then they showed some of the other statistics, and they were pretty evenly matched. Now Cubs have, a 2-game edge. Pat and I have, we've kicked around the whole Cubs Sox stuff, and to me, it was really. It was we lived and died for this series years ago. I mean, this was, you went to war, tailgating and at the game, and it was so passionate, so intense. And I've stepped away from going, to Cubs Sox games because they are really, really crazy. But I know you've got a story, and we'll talk about those experiences of going and being in it. Your thoughts just on, I grew up like that was not the way you went. It was we are a Sox family. We've always been a Sox family, multi-generational Sox. You don't that team it's here, it exists, but that's not an option, and that was just how we always grew up. And that's kind of where I've continued. That is, yeah, Chicago does have two teams, and I do love Chicago, and Chicago has got a place in my heart, and I have so many amazing memories in Chicago, but that was not the area that I grew up. That was not my team, my section of the city, we were White Sox country. Are you that divided, or are you a little bit more complacent or like passive, or where's your energy and intensity at for this rivalry?
I'll tell you this. So when I was younger, they didn't play each other, right? So like in the late 80s, early 90s.
The Windy City Classic.
It was a one game a year.
Didn't count.
At either field, didn't count. It was an exhibition. I watched a lot of Cubs games growing up, the 89 Cubs when they won the East Division.
Yeah.
I just love baseball, but I watched White Sox too. And my dad always told me, he goes, well, your two favorite teams should be the Chicago White Sox, whoever the Cubs are playing that day. So, but the one guy that really changed it all for me was the guy over my left shoulder here, the Big Hurt.
Yeah.
I fell in love with watching him play. He was a must see. So like if you were at the game or if you were watching on TV, you stop what you were doing to watch him bat. So I have to thank the Big Hurt for really helping me choose my side. I have a lot of friends that are Cub fans. I don't really hate on them unless they're, being mean to me. I think it's more a rivalry between the fans themselves, like between us and Cub fans, and more bragging rights. They're a better team this year by far. But like you said, when we were younger, when the interleague started in 97, I believe, we tried to go to as many games as we could, because it was like our World Series, so to speak, because both teams hadn't been in so long. But I think once that the Sox won the series and then the Cubs won, theirs in 2016, I don't know I think it kind of lost its luster a little bit. I don't think it's, we're like both teams have won. So I don't know if it was like who's going to get there first, and the Sox obviously did. But I don't know. To me, it's a little different than it used to be. But I remember, and I sent Pat a text, and I know you were there, Nick. I think it was June 28th of 2002, the Crosstown Classic at Comiskey Park. The Cubs had an early 8-0 lead, and Paulie hits a home run, Canerco hits a home run, or Mags hits a home run. The Sox ended up coming back and win, and we were celebrating Pat's 21st birthday that day.
Yeah.
So that was probably the most memorable game, crosstown game that I ever went to. But it used to be Cubs are on the. We got to go to a couple games, whether it's either at Wrigley or Comiskey Park. But it's, to me, it's different than it used to be. Maybe it's just because I'm older too. I don't know.
Yeah. Sydney brought up that since both teams have the World Series now, it's kind of, it does feel like it's quieted a little bit, like that race is over, and now maybe the new race is for the next one. Who can get the next World Series. And Cubs definitely have a fun team.
Sure.
Interested to see what they do at the deadline here. I know there were some rumors that Cubs are now looking at Adrian Hauser. Of course, they saw him up close and personal on Friday. And
he had a great audition on Friday.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've said it and it's a no-brainer. It's like, this is a big deal. What you do here at the deadline. I mean, that's going to show a lot of people, because you got teams like Milwaukee and how aggressive they're going to be, and other teams that are like, we're still in this too. We're don't count us out. We can make some moves as well. So yeah, this will be a big week. But I think it would be obviously so much different if the Sox are in first place. If the Sox are in first place of the AL Central and the Cubs are playing the way they're playing, with where they're at in the NL Central, that's a whole different, because there's a lot on the line there. It's like we've got to keep, the momentum going in our own division. We've got big plans, but also like this is the pride of the city. and it should be like that.
Sure.
I just know that the Sox they're not there. They don't have the team. It's like we can get a little bit out of them. We could squeeze some juice out of them, which we did over the past 10 days or so. But it's just not sustainable. Like we can't get it for a long period of time. We're not built that way. And the Cubs are. They've got the depth, they've got the players, and that's what we're striving for. So frustrating, extremely frustrating, but we're not there yet. And I hope it happens soon. You've been to, when was the last Cubs Sox game you were at?
That was in 2019, July 6th, 2019. It was that Saturday night game. My wife Rose and I, she got free tickets. Well, we were just dating at the time, but we got free tickets to the game. And it was being a Saturday night game, you had basically all morning, afternoon for everybody to get sauced.
Oh yeah.
And we ended up leaving in the 6th inning because it just was not enjoyable. There was fights in basically every section. And the Cubs did end up winning that game. But I just said to myself, I don't need this. This is I really didn't even watch the games on TV the last couple of years when I could watch them. It was just, I don't know. It's just different for me. If I had tickets, like season tickets, I would sell those games. There's no doubt about it.
And a lot of people do. Yeah. And that's where I kind of found it eventually. It became like people seem to be going to games for a different motive, like they were out for something. They had a plan. There was going to be some disruption. Not everybody, of course, but that's usually how it started. And I can't remember exactly the last one I attended. I was like, maybe 2018 or something. Like, I'm going to be done for a little while. This was a little too, this is too crazy. I got to take a step back, but I hope soon we get to the point where both teams are rocking and rolling, and it's just, there's a lot of energy, and it means a lot, not only for the city series, but for each team respectively, and that the Sox do get their act together. I'm going to let everybody know that if they don't know, and you're just joining us, by the way, over the last couple minutes, Eric Carlson is with me. Pat is in Florida, checking in on, what the Marlins and Rays are doing. I've never been to the Rays stadium. I heard it's an absolute dump. I was at the Marlins stadium maybe 10 years or so ago. When you're looking at the Marlins stadium from that TV perspective, as the camera is shooting from behind home plate out to the outfield, it looks fun. It's like, it's really, artistic what they're doing and different. And it looks great and colorful, and wow. Once you walk around that park though, I'm sorry, they didn't put any attention into anything else except for what the camera was going to see out in center field. It's just like a glorified parking garage. I thought it was a real dump, and I couldn't, the neighborhood wasn't great either, but Pat is, he'll be back eventually, but Eric is filling in. And Eric, who I've known for a very long time, diehard Sox fan, does our intro to this podcast with his Gene Honda, his amazing Gene Honda impression. And boy, you would regale us with Gene Honda stuff at tailgates, and we would just get together and you would break out in Gene Honda. And I just was like, this is a great, kind of a quirky, like, who does a Gene Honda impression? And you do, and it's outstanding. Now, I could put you on the spot, but I want to hear a couple of your favorite Gene Honda players. But how does one realize that, oh, I can do Gene Honda and it's pretty good? Like, how does that come about?
So where that started was I played high school ball for Joliet Township. I went to Joliet West, but we were combined schools. And I was a bench warmer my junior year in 1998. And in the varsity game, I played JV, but in the varsity games, I controlled the scoreboard. I also did the batter announcements. And I don't remember what school we were playing or what who the number was or better, but I'm like, oh, I can make, I was toying around with it in the
You had some
car
fun
one
with it.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, I could kind of sound like Gene Honda a little bit. So one of my former teammates, which I'm sure you know, is Brandon Singh.
Yeah.
He ended up being drafted by the Cubs in '99. So I was like, now batting for the Steelman, number 6, Brandon Singh. So I'm like,
Oh,
I
so
just kept
good.
doing it, and
Did people catch on? Did people say, "Oh, wow, that's
a couple
you're doing
couple
like
of
the
my
Sox
teammates are like,
announcer"?
you sound like the Sox guy at Comiskey Park.
Wonderful,
I said,
good.
so
That's great.
I'm not like a spot on impersonator of Gene Honda. I've met him a couple times. He's a great guy, but I just enjoy doing it, and it's so weird, Nick, because I still do it. I'll be in my work truck, and I'm driving to my next stop, and I see a billboard. And I'll say, Take 5 oil change. This game is brought to you by Take 5 oil change at Bell Tire, the official tire sponsor of the Chicago White Sox.
I can listen to this impression all day long.
Yeah.
And
you're going to get a lot of it this weekend. And
we're going to go. So Eric's joining. There's 8 of us. We're going to go on a golf trip up in Galena. And you've done it before where someone will get up on the tee box and you'll announce their name in a Gene Honda impression. And I love it. So you've got a couple favorites though that
I do
that you've done and that you like how Gene Honda does certain players. So who's one of, or maybe your favorite? You can give us a couple.
My favorite was Albert Bell. I think in 1998, that was his second year with the Sox, and he had a tremendous season, especially in the second half. But we used to go on the Half Price Monday games and sit right behind home plate for, I don't know, $10, $14, whatever it was. So I always used to get excited when I knew, because it would be Frank Thomas and Albert Bell. And then Gene Honda would announce, he'd be like, number 8, Albert Bell. And it's just how he enunciated it was just, I'm like, oh
because you do the numbers so well too. You can't just have the name. You've got to also have how he does the number. Mm-hmm. And there's just he's been at it for a very, very long time, and it's just that and when you hear it, like NCAA Blackhawks, you just know, like, oh wow, Gene Honda. That you just know it when you hear Gene Honda his voice. So that is man, that is so fun. Yeah, we're gonna have you.
I've never done my impersonation in front of him before, though. So that's
have you done it? You are very close friends with Nancy Faust. Like we've talked about it on this podcast. Eric is the gentleman that has gotten to know Aunt Nancy Faust very well for many, many years, and Nancy played the organ for your cocktail hour, for your reception, and. Wow, was that just an unbelievable experience to just help her out getting set up, talk with her, so gracious. Her husband Joe, wonderful. Have you ever done the Gene Honda impression for Nancy Faust?
I don't know that I have. I'm trying, because every time I'm around her, we just seriously, when you say we're friends. Like we'll call each other, she'll text me or whatever. Actually, this candle, it's right over my right shoulder.
Yeah.
Right here, that's a gift from her and her husband, on top of her playing at our cocktail hour for our wedding. But I don't know that I ever have. So the next time I talk to her, I'm gonna ask her if I have, and then I'll do it for her if she'll allow me.
I would love for you to just call her, and I mean she'll know it's you, obviously, with ID, but leaving a voicemail is Gene Honda, and just to see what she would say about that. But you travel around to ballparks too. You've gone with your lovely wife for several years now, checking out different ballparks. You got a favorite ballpark you've been to, and maybe one that's on your short list that you need to get to?
Yes. So we last Friday, my wife and I were in Texas. We saw the Rangers play the Detroit Tigers. What a beautiful stadium. It's in a retractable roof, but they usually have the roof closed, artificial surface.
Is that Globe Life? Is that what
Globe Life Field?
Yeah.
Okay. So the Globe Life Park where they used to play is actually still up right next door. They turned that into like a football stadium, I believe, like an outdoor, like for local colleges. And
they love their football down there. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And Jerry World, or whatever you want to call it, that might be the largest stadium I've ever seen with my eyes. It's huge. Where the Cowboys play, AT&T Stadium. But I'd say my favorite park that her and I have visited is Fenway Park.
Yeah,
we were there last year.
So much history.
Boy, you really feel it when you walk through the gates there.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, when we did a tour before we went to the first game, and we went in on the right field side, up on the, we can look down on where Ted Williams' seat is.
Yes. Yeah.
And then when I saw the monster for the first time, I got choked up a little bit. I'm like, man, this is in, like Field was a Field of Dreams movie. It's been in, how many TV shows, but to see it in person was there's nothing like it.
Yeah, to go up and to walk on top of that monster, and we had just a fabulous tour guide when I was there so many years ago. You really appreciate it. Baseball is such a amazing sport where every stadium is different. The nuances, the little corners, the alleyways, and to see how they still have some of the seats for decades and decades and decades ago, kind of filtered into how they've had to rehab that.
They're wooden seats, so underneath the roof of the main grandstand. I want to say from 1934. Those are the original wooden seats that are still there. Now they're not made for wide body people. People were much thinner back then, but it's those are the original seats. Not the original, but from 1934.
We were able to, it's like they made a point of like sit down in these, just experience that. I mean, it was a tight fit. It is a tight fit. So I love it. I love seeing different baseball stadiums, and so is there one that you're like, oh, this is on the list. We got to get to this one soon.
Yes. And actually we will be going there in September. Is Pittsburgh, PNC.
Pittsburgh. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. We bought cheap flights through Southwest. I think it's $39 each way, part of their birthday special. So we'll be going there in September. I think it's the 18th, 19th, 20th, something like that. They got a weekend series against the Athletics. So we'll be heading there. And I know I talked to you earlier about where to sit. Make sure you're in the grandstand looking.
Yes. Yeah.
Look out
towards the outfield. That's where all the action is. That's where the beautiful, the ambiance and the bridge. And I had a lot of fun in Pittsburgh. And, I know the Sox were just there, and a lot of folks traveled to see the Sox in Pittsburgh. And it's going to be a great one to cross off the list. Camden Yards for me, Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Everything about that is just wonderful. I've had an opportunity to see several White Sox Oriole games there. Howard mentioned Petco Park. I want to get to Petco Park. I love San Diego in general.
Yeah,
but I've been downtown and just been around like the stadium. I've never gone in. It looked amazing from the outside, and seeing games and the viewpoints there, and everybody I've talked to that has gone is like, it is worth it. Like, make that the tops if you can do it.
That'll be another top of the list for me as well. Camden Yards and Petco Park.
Yeah.
Another park, real quick. I don't want to get too much on the subject, but Oracle Park in San Francisco is absolutely beautiful. So if ever the chance to go, please go.
Yeah, I again have passed that one just by going to Oakland. We went to see Sox Oakland when the Coliseum was still up, and you got to see the Coliseum too.
We did, last year.
And when we drove through San Francisco, I saw it from a distance, but that one, those West Coast stadiums. I mean, I've been to Dodger Stadium and I've been out to see the Angels. But San Francisco and San Diego for sure. So one of Nancy Faust's favorites, maybe the favorite, I don't know, Dick Allen. She really revolutionized. She's just a legend. I mean, what she has done By the way, have you said? I mean, how does she feel about being back this year? And is this something that, do you think this could be more than just 1 year? Do you have any idea?
I don't, but boy, I hope so, because it feels the game that you and I were at a couple weeks ago against
Yes.
Cleveland. It felt like 2005 for me because they played the Pirates of the Caribbean
They did.
intro.
Yes.
They played
Yeah.
Thunderstruck, and Nancy was at the keys, and
Yeah.
it brought back so many great memories. And it's hard to believe that was 20 years ago already. But I don't know if that's going to be if she'll be coming back next year. I know it's just part of the 125 celebration, but boy, I if she just kept it like that, select Sundays, she come back and play, 6-7 times a year, I would take it.
They do such a nice job with their Sundays right now. It's
Mm-hmm.
Family Sunday. They got those great bobbleheads that they're giving out to commemorate, the 125-year history. You got Nancy there. I wish they were wearing some different uniforms on Sunday to kind of really celebrate everything that they've got there in the jersey collection, so to speak. And so Dick Allen finally officially inducted it into the Hall of Fame. Well overdue. I've talked about it on this podcast. Never saw him play, seen the videos, read the articles, heard the stories from people that have. He was an amazing athlete, went through so much. This should have happened a long time ago. I've talked about that book, Chili Dog MVP. It's a must read, especially now with just the energy, the Dick Allen energy going on. They did the great bobblehead giveaway earlier this year with this commemorating the Sports Illustrated cover, him juggling with the heater coming out of his mouth. Which
I love the story and how you got the heater.
That was so great. Yeah, that was. I love that the Sox did that. So, and I'm so happy that I guess Nancy's back in baseball doing the organ and everything, and that she kind of has around. And I know that there's a Dick Allen documentary coming out. I think in 2026. I was reading. It's called My Father, Dick Allen. It's an emotionally charged upcoming documentary that tells the unforgettable story of one of baseball's most talented and misunderstood icons, and the long, painful road to his long overdue induction into the National Baseball Hall of Fame. Film is expected to premiere 2026. So, I don't know, maybe, Nancy's involved in the book and the Chili Dog MVP book and her perspective on
that is her favorite player.
Yeah.
I can vouch for that. She has told me that. And that's kind of how she got the start with playing songs when batters would go up to bat. She played Jesus Christ Superstar for Dick Allen because he was a superstar. And I know she's mentioned that in other interviews. So I want to say her and her husband Joe were there today in New York, in Cooperstown.
That's awesome.
To see his induction.
That gives
I
me
remember
chills.
talking to her about it, and I think that she said her and Joe were going. So I hope they went. I hope they had a great time. And I think he went in with a Phillies cap, but we know, and I've heard stories that because of him, the reason why the White Sox are still on the South Side, too.
I could have swore I read something, and I thought it maybe came out in the book that he said he wanted to go in as a White Sox. Was the hat he wanted to wear. There was a lot of,
I don't know that players get to decide that, do they? Or is it
that
based
is
off your tenure with a team?
That's also is a very good point. I think you might have a say. You can you can make a pitch, but I think you're right. I think the Baseball Hall of Fame makes that decision. I did eventually hear that. Aloha, Mr. Pete Hand would be the guy that we got to talk to. That I'm sure he knows that for sure. But yeah, he went in as a Philly, and he had a tumultuous relationship with the Philly community, the city, the media. It was tough. I mean, it is well documented. Just the horrible stuff that he overcame. And he talked about coming to Chicago, and he felt like he was finally home the embrace that White Sox fans gave him. And I wish they were able to wear like the red cap today. You know, that they wore. Does anybody understand why were they wearing a 1959 cap for this this weekend series with the Hall of Fame patch on the side? I mean, it's a beautiful cap. I love that. I love that Go White Sox look.
He wasn't on that team though.
He was not on that team.
No.
And
right.
If you've got Dick Allen, I know he's going in as a Philly, but he had some amazing years with the White Sox, really changed the trajectory of what was going on in the White Sox organization. I mean, we're still talking about Dick Allen. He only played for 3 years, parts of 3 years.
Right.
I mean, really injured in that last one, but boy, did he have an impact. I mean, that 72 MVP season, the gaudy numbers, you just like, this has got to be fake. This has got to be, some sort of what was he playing, like in a little league park when this was happening?
Right.
No, this was like this was a large park. Comiskey was, I mean, some of those alleyways and what he was doing, it was unbelievable. So wear the red cap, wear the red White Sox cap. That would have been really cool. You know,
I know that doesn't MLB put a restriction on how many alternate jerseys that a team could have? But I agree with you. They could have wore the red cap today, that 72 red cap with the home jerseys. I think that would have been
wouldn't that have been a nice
great
touch?
Homage to Dick Allen for sure.
You know, I just say I know they went away from the 83s, and that's fine. I think it kind of ran its course. I liked how on Sundays though they had a different thing, you know, a retro. And in this 125 era, I really wish they would have brought back some other jerseys. You know, and had some things. You like the 1987 to 1990.
I do. The curly QC.
The curly Q and the script.
With the number on the pant leg.
Yep. That would be nice. That's come back. There's a lot of that. That's become a popular jersey. And that would be interesting to have them. I just wish it was happening. I think it's a little too late in the game for them to organize that. But like this was the weekend. Like wear those red pinstripes in honor of Dick Allen on Sunday. But well.
Yeah. Well, they missed the boat on that one.
Yeah.
They should hire you. They should hire you as the marketing guy.
I got so many ideas, Eric.
I know you do.
It's the time. I need an intern like Kramer from Seinfeld. I need to hire an intern that just can help me with all these ideas, get them off the ground. I just, we got a quote of the week coming up here, and I got to thank everybody for jumping in here on this. It was a tough Sunday. It was, it's a tough weekend. Started off great. I had a lot of energy, a lot of hope. Like, man, there was some excitement. I'm telling you, I am watching the game this past weekend, and I shuffled around throughout the house. I'm not able to sit down and watch a whole game these days. You know, my son Vince, very active. Like we're running around, either running errands or we're in the house doing something. But I've got it. I'm paying attention, and I left the family room where it was on the TV. And this might have been either Friday or Saturday. I think it was Friday towards the end, like when they need just like get this final out, like let's end this. And I put the game on my phone as I was leaving into a different room. I haven't done that in several years. Like I got to watch this. I've got to see this of how this goes and how this ends. And that was an exciting feeling to want to be connected to the White Sox. Not just like, well, whatever, I'll figure it out. I'll catch up. But that feeling of, and here we're talking about a team that's 30 games under 500, but I had that feeling, and that was, whoa, oh, this is interesting.
Well, that goes back to your earlier question when we began the podcast today about, is it a different team? Yes, it is a different team, because last year you wouldn't have cared.
Right. That's true.
Continue watching it. So
very true, Eric. Bringing that right back. That is true. That tells you, right? That's the litmus test of how you consume it. If you find the way it obviously has more meaning. And this past weekend and what the Sox have been doing over the last 10 days, I've been wanting to, I want to miss this. I want to see these young guys, and I wanted to see that ending for sure. Well, thank everybody for jumping in here on Sunday night, being with us. If you're consuming the audio, appreciate that so much. Pass the podcast along, and even if you don't, get onto the YouTube channel to watch the video, just subscribe. It does mean something, and just subscribe, like the channel, and it helps us. And pass it along to other Sox fans in your life. Huge thank you, Eric. Thank you so much for stepping in, buddy.
You're welcome.
This was awesome. This was so much fun.
This has been fun. I hope to do it again someday. I'm gonna keep this microphone just in case. Great buy on Amazon. Yeah,
great. Keep it handy because you're gonna have to record, some more Gene Honda intros, and we'll get a script together. But
if you start getting sponsors, I'll have to add all the sponsors in a.
Well, we're trying to get Vienna beef.
I remember from last week's podcast talking about that. Any word on that yet, or is it still
no word? I need this intern to be able to make these connections. But yeah, work on your just Vienna beef slogans and anything that you've got in the chamber for that.
I'll tell you this Friday in Galena. I'll work on it and come up with a nice commercial or.
To be determined on next Sunday's episode. We'll be coming in back from Galena. We'll keep everybody posted, and if you're subscribing to the channel, you'll know when a new one has been scheduled. So we'll see how next Sunday goes. But thank you, Eric, so much, buddy. We'll do it again
welcome.
Soon.
Thanks for having me.
Here is your quote of the week. It's from our manager, Will Venable. We lost the series, so obviously we're not happy. We thought coming in, we put ourselves in a good position. You win the first one. You like your chances to get one of the next two to win the series. It did not work out. He's got a level head. I mean, I can't really throw him at all under the bus for some of the things that he says. It seems like the guys really are fighting for him, playing for him. He's got their attention. And again, I think they're a crop of players that have something to prove, so there aren't those egos. There aren't those cliques. At least I don't think it. And you just want that chemistry. If we've learned anything from this 05 year, this anniversary year, the documentary, everything, chemistry is extremely important. You got to like one another. Maybe not off the field, but on the field, fighting for each other, bonding. And finding those things to hook on, the don't stop believing stuff, all that fun stuff. Hopefully this group starts to galvanize, over the next year or so. And we get that moving in the right direction.
Yeah, that's the hope. We'll keep our fingers crossed, right?
Yeah.
That's all we can do.
Yeah. Coming up next for the Sox, it's Philly, then Los Angeles. For Eric, I am Nick. Until next time, go Sox.